In the 1980s, if you bought a computer and you brought it home, it didn't do anything when you turned it on. You had to program it. You were responsible for turning it into the applications you wanted it to do. You either had to type the codes in BASIC, oftentimes out of magazines or out of books, or you had to load in with diskette or even cassettes one at a time the programs you wanted to run. And you were in charge. You were the programmer. And nowadays, the computers come ready to go. They're already loaded with a bunch of software. It already has an internet browser, has Office applications, and you don't get to choose what they are or how it operates. And worse, when you get onto the net, when you get onto the web, it's sort of dictated from the other end what it is that you can do. And while there's a lot of developers out there, people who create software for their computers, for their company rather, for their job, I don't know many people who create their own software anymore for their own daily life, for their own business. I was watching a great 80s documentary on computing, and one of the speakers said that they wanted a particular piece of software, but it was rather expensive. And they were talking to their friends, and their friends suggested that they code it themselves. And they thought that was an interesting idea, and they went out and they learned, at the time, BASIC, and they programmed it. And they were able to build the app, the application that they needed for their business. They were a photographer. And it helped them print out the details that go on the back of the photograph when they were selling them. I think that idea now is very alien. I don't know many people in business that would program their own software. They would think to themselves, I have a need, let me go out and learn programming so I can solve that need and I can have my own custom app. And in this case, that person didn't sell the app. It wasn't for anyone else, it was for them. It was a very personal program. And I don't think we see that anymore. And I think that's really a dangerous cultural trend. I think we need more people, more young people, more people in business, more people in arts and humanities to think to themselves, I want to do this. Let me think about how I would do it using this incredible machine that I have access to, that I own. But that's exactly the problem. Today, we don't feel like we own the machines. You don't really have access to the chip inside your computer. You can't easily reprogram your laptop, and you certainly can't reprogram your telephone. And it's nearly impossible to create something using your $1,000 iPhone that you could then send to someone else with an iPhone or an Android and have them use it. And I think that's a tragedy. But even worse, I see that as kind of a metaphor what's happened with our mind. We don't program ourselves anymore. Used to be, you had a library card. And you would go out and you would select the programming, the mental apps, the instruction set that you wanted to put into your mind so that you could learn new things. Later, you could select the magazines you subscribed to or the newspapers you had delivered to your home. But nowadays, it's not like that at all. TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and the algorithms, they're determining your programming. You're not picking your apps anymore. They're being installed into you without your permission. I think we need to get back to the future. We need to go back to the 80s and think about computers when maybe they weren't flashy and maybe the buttons weren't as pretty, but they were under our control. We programmed them. And more importantly, with our mind and the media that we consume, we need to get back to the point where we are selecting the data set. We are determining what we want to do next and where we want to go and what information we want to pour across our eyeballs and put into our mind. I think this is going to be more important than ever. Program yourself, or somebody's going to program you for you.